So, we are experiencing Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and this is a very big and interesting Mercury retrograde cycle because it is making a conjunction to the North Node in the sign of Gemini in opposition to the South Node. It's making squares to Neptune. It's doing a whole lot right now, and also it's making a square to the current transit of Jupiter in the sign of Pisces. Now, when it comes to this Mercury retrograde cycle, we're seeing so many different themes of miscommunication on a whole nother level. And we will be seeing that throughout this Mercury retrograde. So you definitely want to take it upon yourself to be mindful of your words, what you're sharing with people. And this is a time to go back on things, go back on things that you may have said. This is a time for you to apologize for things that you may have said that you don't stand with. And it's okay to say, this is how I used to think, but this is how I think now. And this retrograde tells us to kind of reverse, kind of go back to a part of ourselves that we may have left behind as we're coming into this higher awareness and higher states of consciousness. There are parts of us that are fragmented that we left behind because we feel that those parts of ourselves don't fit the mold of the now. But right now, it's time for us to get a bit of a break from always thinking, always talking and things of the sort, and just have fun and just tune into other aspects of ourselves. Okay. Now, for people who are not traveling, this particular retrograde could bring it to where you are able or you're comfortable to travel again. I have been seeing themes of that. Also, when it comes to this retrograde, there are so many things going on, but what I really want to talk about is the fact that we tend to be tapped and tuned into talk therapy when it comes to therapy and getting our minds right, which is necessary, which is so good. But Gemini also rules the nervous system. So it's very important we are paying attention to our nervous system and we are healing our nerves on a cellular level. And something that I've recently come to learn about is somatics. I heard about it years ago, but I never really tapped into it. But somatics is when you get down to the cellular level of yourself for a deeper healing to be had from different traumas that you may have experienced. Now, when it comes to this particular Mercury retrograde, because of the transits that it is making and aspects that it's making to other planets and things of the sort, we can hear about different lies being revealed. We can hear about certain emails or text messages being exposed and things of the sort. This is the time that you want to check yourself when it comes to over exaggerating certain things, all of that type of stuff. Okay. If you are working on a book, this is a time for you to edit that book, to just go back and make sure you check it over and over again. You just double check things. One of the major things that I really love about this particular Mercury retrograde is it is about us accepting all of the sides of ourselves. Oftentimes we allow one aspect of ourselves to be dominant, and this Mercury retrograde is saying, hey, what about this side? What about the fact that you're funny? What about the fact that you got swag? What about the fact that you have these other sides to you that you don't allow others to see because you may be ashamed of them? And this is the time to allow those other aspects to the self to come forward so that they can be seen, so that they could be expressed. And if they need some healing, they could get some healing. Okay. So, this particular Mercury retrograde is going to definitely bring up change of plans. Okay. You may have been planning to do one thing and now you're switching your mind entirely, and that is okay. This Mercury retrograde could also make you feel very drained, fatigued, tired, and feeling absolutely confused, and that is okay. It's time to do a mental detox. It's time to just sit back and relax and journal, write down certain things, read some old books, read some old things, and know that you don't have all the answers and your community doesn't have all the answers, and speak from a space of knowing what you know, but being open to others' perspectives and perceptions. Okay. That's a major one when it comes to this particular Mercury retrograde. Understand, since Mercury retrograde is happening in the sign of Gemini, which rules talk and communication, you could be talking to people and they may not hear you at all. They may not understand you whatsoever. And you could be talking against someone's own dogmas and their own ideals and ideologies of life. So be mindful of that. You could have a conversation with someone and they're just like, scrutinizing you, and it's because they're tapped into their own dogmas. And you also want to make sure you're not tapped into your own dogmas and you have more of an open mind, at least an open ear to hear another perspective. Okay, this particular retrograde tells us to let go of our biases and check into certain biases that we may have, so that we are not allowing ourselves to be dumbed down just because we have these stereotypes in our mind. And it's major that we are being called to let go of stereotypes, because we will be foolish, because we could miss out on something great. Like, I deal with a lot of stereotypes for my lips and for my nails and even for my hair. And the stereotypes that I get is that people think that my lips are fake, and so they don't talk to me. Guys won't approach me because they think that I'm like, an insecure girl, or a girl that is into things that they may not be into. And I'm like, no, just because, a person has big lips or something, you never know. They could be real, as mine are real, as my nails are real, even though I get them done. They're my real nails. And so this retrograde does that. Let go of your stereotypes. You may judge someone because they're rich and they have nice things. You don't know what's going on. You may judge another person for being overweight, but you don't know that they lost their mother and they never were able to recover. So it tells us to let go of the stereotypes that we may have. Or when it even comes to like a person being overweight, people judge them and they scrutinize them, but you may not know that this person is suffering from a serious thyroid condition. So it's about rethinking your thoughts and asking yourself, where do these thoughts come from? Why do I think like this? And seeing how some of your belief systems and ideologies are actually imprisoning you and not allowing you to be free, open, and have more joy and laughter in your reality. This Mercury retrograde, in tandem with the full moon in Sagittarius we just experienced, tells us to pay attention to the little things and the small things in life, and to enjoy them, and to understand that less is more. You may have an event, you may have some type of a talk, and you may expect a lot of people to come out, but you may end up dealing with like a very small crowd and people that you are used to talking to. But this is going to be the people that you need to connect with and the people that you need to talk to. Know that less is more at this particular time. Okay, so when it comes to Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini, with all the other transits that are taking place right now, you could end up talking to some people that you went to school with. You could end up speaking to some people that you went to some type of a spiritual center or church with, and things like that could definitely come up when it comes to this retrograde. Of course, you want to take care of your car, your vehicle, your phones. You can have phone issues. It's all teaching us to be very patient. Now, I want to talk about schools and churches again. We could be hearing certain things in regards to schools and churches. We could be hearing how numbers are dropping when it comes to church attendance and things like that. It's very high and likely for those things to come about. And like I stated, truths will be revealed and all of that type of stuff. And one thing that I love so much is kind of funny is all the double entendres that you'll be hearing during this Mercury retrograde in Gemini. And I want to also encourage people to get back to writing. If you're a writer, if you're a poet or anything of the sort, you want to take this time to get back into writing, to get reinvigorated in that particular area. And, just allow your soul to be expressed. It's very important at this time. And like I mentioned, the number one thing I feel is to speak from a very honest space, as honest as you possibly could, and speak from a space of not being dogmatic, like you have all the answers, but you're just sharing your perception with others. There are so many things happening with this particular Mercury retrograde. Be careful of your hands, work on your deep breathing exercises and things of the sort. And relax your mind. Definitely get into some visualization meditations and things. Another thing, we could be hearing about some shifts and changes coming to prisons, a prison reform program. We could be hearing about people getting released from prisons. There could be shifts and changes when it comes to the hospital. You do want to take care of your lungs and your respiratory system at this time. You want to be mindful in that particular area. We could be hearing about certain cures when it comes to asthma and other issues in regards to the lungs, the respiratory system in general, or even in regards to the nervous system and healing from anxiety. People can deal with more anxiety at this particular time because of the nature of the sign that it is happening in. But like I mentioned, there's so much going on with this particular Mercury retrograde. And also, Mercury retrograde in Gemini can bring up matters in regards to gossip and just rethinking your mind when it comes to gossip. Seeing how it could be necessary just to kind of decipher and discern certain matters that you may be getting yourself into, or to clear up your intuitive insight. But don't get too caught up in gossip, and know that those who are gossiping about others that they consider their friends will gossip about you. But we'll be hearing a lot about these gossip channels, and just a lot about gossip in general when it comes to this Mercury retrograde. A few things that I forgot to mention in regards to this Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini and its many aspects is that there could be the feeling of regretting things that you have done because you were given a message of some form of insight that something would happen. And this can make it to where you're like, oh my goodness, I knew this already. I don't know why I fell for the trap, things of the sort. And what I want to say to you in regards to that is don't feel bad. Don't regret anything, because sometimes you need to experience what is being said, because experience itself is the greatest teacher of all. And just understand, at the time when you receive the message, you were tapped into another state of consciousness, and that is okay. This Mercury retrograde is about accepting all sides of ourselves, accepting all of our thought processes. Another thing is that this particular Mercury retrograde could bring up issues in regards to thievery, any forms of thievery, car theft, phone theft, idea theft, and things of the likes. So be mindful that this is a time those kinds of things can pop up, and you want to make sure you have your property in check, get your copyrights and things like that, okay? Now, this particular Mercury retrograde could bring up issues with your neighbors, neighborhood, and it could bring up issues in regards to your mailing system as well, just receiving any mail. It could bring forth car accidents and car troubles in general, and it could bring up issues in regards to race. Yes, we could be hearing about more racial tension rising and things of the sort, some strange things or some very unfair things happening in regards to racism and stuff like that can come about during this Mercury retrograde. So I wanted to add that bit in. Stay connected, because I can never say enough just in one post or one video. And definitely check me out on social media, Instagram as well as Facebook, and even TikTok, to see the different messages that I'll drop here and there in regards to this Mercury retrograde cycle. This is one of the most important Mercury retrogrades that we will experience, because it's in the sign that Mercury rules, and because it's making aspects to the nodes as well as to Neptune and Jupiter. So stay tuned. And this is what I have to share at this particular time. But check me out on social media to see other things that I may have shared there that I did not share in this particular video. My name is Kateria Knows on Instagram as well as Facebook. Check them both out. And I am the Mean Astrologer on TikTok. If you want to learn astrology on a deeper level, check out my website, astrologicschool.com. I have a program right now to help you learn basic astrology in a very constructive, easygoing, consecutive fashion. And also I have one-on-one personalized coaching sessions where I'll teach you astrology based upon your chart. You will learn how you naturally learn. I look into your chart and see how you naturally learn and teach you based upon your natural learning style. And you can learn a variety of topics from synastry, so many things. There's nothing that I don't teach when it comes to astrology. So check out my website, astrologicschool.com, and we could get you going on a nice program to learn this science for yourself and to do readings for yourself. Every now and again, I hold webinars where I go more in depth and I give information for all of the signs when it comes to a particular transit, and I also allow you to ask me questions that you may have. So stay tuned to the things that I have going on. I know that they can serve you in your world as they have been greatly serving myself. Peace, love, and divine light to you.